Integer is a combination of two medical device outsource companies that was formed in late 2015 by the merger of Great Batch and Lake Region Medical. I was a Lake Region Medical IT employee. Great Batch acquired Lake Region Medical. Both companies were running Oracle EBS in hosted environments, different hosted environments, and we had a situation where we needed to figure out how we were going to consolidate those two environments because it just about doubled the cost exactly. It was interesting. Both companies were paying almost exactly to the penny for their environments in terms of annual operating cost. And I was charged with bringing the two together and consolidating to one instance. In 2017, we had about $1.4 billion in revenue, 10,000 employees. Today, we're running the single instance Oracle EBS application at Amazon, supported by Apps Associates, and we have roughly 7,000 users at 34 different locations worldwide. We're in 5 countries, and it's going well for us, and I'm happy to be here to share some of the details. Next slide. So what drove us was the problem I mentioned earlier, where we had applications hosted in 2 different data centers. Our contracts, interestingly enough, for both companies were also coming due around the same time in 2016. Both the hosting providers were proposing price increases, and I'm sure most of you are aware of how that goes. No great surprise there. And we were adverse to locking in new contracts with either of them for a long term. So we were looking for to lower the cost, and we were looking for flexibility. And so we explored the options, which brought us to Apps and Amazon. So these are sort of the business drivers that led to the decisions we made. Next slide. So in 2014 and 15 at Lake Region, I did a request for a proposal to see what could be done to move the Lake Region Oracle instances to a cloud environment away from a hosting provider and our infrastructure. We eventually got to a point working with Apps because they were a trusted partner of ours where we did a pilot. That pilot successfully led to understanding that we could move the application to Amazon. It was a proof of concept. Apps helped us do that. It took us about 4 to 6 weeks. It wasn't very deep, but I saw enough in that time to know that we could do this, and I developed a strong confidence for being able to do it, and I became a big supporter about it. So it enabled the better planning to really make it happen. And then we put it on the shelf because we were about to be acquired by Great Batch. So at that point, we had multiple instances of Oracle EBS consolidate to one. We needed to do something about disaster recovery, and that went well. So I also decided to move Hyperion to Amazon as well, also working well. And the cutover to the cloud was very, very smooth. Over a weekend, it took about 3 or 4 months to get there, obviously, and we didn't miss any shipments at 34 locations, and there was no business disruption. Next slide. So these were some fantastic results that we achieved through doing this. It was challenging, but Apps Associates supported us along the way, and it was really great working with a partner that didn't create extra challenges for me and my team, and we were able to achieve the things that are on this list. We delivered a greater than 50% annual cost reduction, which is significant because you would think you could save half, but we actually saved more than half. We consolidated the 2 infrastructures to a single instance, where today we have 34 locations, manufacturing plants around the world, running on the single instance Oracle EBS release 12 that we have at Amazon. We removed complexity because we're not dealing with 2 different hosting providers. We're working singly with Apps, and they handle all the Amazon billing, which they can talk to you about separately. We achieved flexibility particularly around being able to scale up or down. For projects, it's really great being able to spin up non-production instances when you need them and then drop them when you don't need them. One of the challenges that we had with a hosting provider, which I'm sure a lot of you have too, you have a fixed capacity and you either use it or you don't, but you pay for it. That's not the case here if you manage it properly. You have to make sure your licensing is scalable to that kind of an environment for flexibility. That's working very, very well for us. And when we need project instances, we spin them up. When we don't need them, we take them down. We also were able to scale down the production environment because at Amazon, generally speaking, but there's a lot of different ways to do your contract. You pay for what you use. Anybody dealing with the Oracle ERP environment always probably gets a little more capacity than they really need. The great thing about Amazon and working with apps is you can scale it up or down depending on what you're doing, and you can even get very sophisticated and turn down your non-production instances after hours if you want to and save more money. In our business, it's critical that we analyze our operating budgets every year. I'm asked, and pressures are on us to reduce our budget every year. Our business is such with contract manufacturing. We need to be efficient. We need to be price competitive. Our customers put pressures on us to lower our prices annually, and we're always dealing with the challenges of price downs and giving our employees merit increases. And so all these challenges I'm sure a lot of you have, and we were able to create a flexible environment with Amazon and apps where I can do that very well for us right now. Next slide. Why did I choose apps? Well, they were an incumbent working with me at Lake Region in the Boston area. And they're just were doing everything I asked them to do. I can rely on them. So, you know, they were in my environment. They're a successful partner, and I was happy to take this to the next step. But as I said, we got a proposal from 3 people. One was apps. It was the best one. I brought in 3 folks. We talked to the other 2 potentials. We talked about it. At the end of the day, it just made sense to go with apps because we had the 12 years of experience. They have a very deep bench on ERP, business intelligence, and we needed a partner that had a worldwide reach as well. As I said, we're in 5 different countries. We have 34 plants running Oracle, and I wanted to make sure that they had the scale, whoever we chose had the scale to help us take care of what we needed to do to make this a reality. And the experience, the deep bench, the confidence that I had working with Apps Associates, all these things combined put us in a very, very good position to work together to create a cost-effective environment with contracts that were very, very flexible to create a situation where I could manage this, the budget for the environment and the operating costs in a very successful and efficient way. They provided all of those things, and I have a lot of confidence that if any of you take it to the next step with apps, you'll see the same results that I've had.